Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are unpacking a story that's got many South Africans talking, a bold, unapologetic statement by one of the country's most respected labor leaders, Zwelinzima Vavi. In a recent public statement, Vavi declared that former President Jacob Zuma is the worst thing this country has ever experienced. That's a heavy accusation, but it didn't come out of nowhere. This is the kind of political grenade that forces us to reflect not only on Zuma's presidency, but on the hopes that were pinned on him, the failures that followed, and what this all says about leadership in South Africa today. Let's take it back. Jacob Zuma didn't enter the presidency as a villain in the public eye. In fact, for many, especially working-class communities, Zuma symbolized hope. He was seen as a man of the people. He rose from humble beginnings, had a compelling life story, and was expected to challenge the elitist style of Thabo Mbeki's leadership with something more grounded and relatable. Zuma's early messaging promised economic justice, land reform, and transformation. Trade unions, activists, and political veterans rallied around him, and one of his most prominent early backers was none other than Zwelinzima Vavi. At the time, Vavi was still the General Secretary of COSATU, South Africa's largest labor federation. So for Vavi to now say that Zuma's presidency was not just disappointing, but the worst thing South Africa has ever experienced, that's a stunning reversal. And in many ways, it's also a reflection of just how far hopes were dashed. Vavi made it clear that his statement isn't personal. He said, "My criticism is not personal but is based on the expectations we had for Zuma to uplift the working class and provide visionary leadership." But according to Vavi, Zuma did the opposite. And millions of South Africans would agree. Zuma's presidency, from 2009 to 2018, was riddled with scandal after scandal. From the misuse of state funds at Nkandla, which was branded a security upgrade, to the explosive allegations of state capture involving the Gupta family, Zuma's tenure has left a permanent stain on South Africa's political and institutional credibility. State-owned entities like Eskom, Transnet, and SAA were hollowed out by looting and political interference. Billions of rands were lost to corruption. And while the elite scrambled to secure tenders and enrich themselves, unemployment skyrocketed, inequality deepened, and communities were left behind. Vavi didn't just point to these failures in abstract. He brought it back to the working class, the very people Zuma had promised to uplift. The working class deserved a leader who would fight for their rights and improve their quality of life, said Vavi. Instead, Zuma's tenure was characterized by corruption and mismanagement that set South Africa back. And he's not wrong. One of the darkest legacies of Zuma's presidency is the erosion of state capacity. Institutions that once functioned, even with flaws, became almost dysfunctional. The criminal justice system lost credibility. Public trust collapsed. And today, we are still living with the consequences. To be fair, Zuma still has a loyal support base. He remains popular in parts of KwaZulu-Natal and among segments of the population that believe he was unfairly targeted by the judiciary and the media. His new party, the Umkhonto we Sizwe Party, or MK Party, is campaigning ahead of the 2024 elections and drawing large crowds. But for critics like Vavi, Zuma represents not only a lost opportunity but a betrayal of the very ideals that many fought for during the anti-apartheid struggle. Vavi's words come at a time when South Africans are deeply questioning the legacy of the post-apartheid state. After 3 decades of democracy, poverty, inequality, and unemployment remain rampant. Load shedding is part of daily life. Corruption continues to plague municipalities. The youth are frustrated. Communities are protesting. And the promises of transformation feel more distant than ever. Zuma's defenders argue that he's been scapegoated, that many of South Africa's challenges began before he came into office and have continued after his departure. And yes, that's true to some extent. But Zuma's presidency was a turning point, a decade during which state capture became embedded and accountability was weakened at every level. Even the Zondo Commission, which investigated state capture, laid much of the blame on Zuma's shoulders, accusing him of allowing the Guptas to infiltrate government appointments, loot state resources, and control key ministries. And what makes Vavi's criticism so piercing is that it comes from someone who once believed in Zuma's potential. He's not a political rival throwing shade. He's a former ally admitting that he got it wrong, and urging the country to never repeat that mistake. This moment of political honesty is rare in South Africa. Many leaders deflect, deny, or spin the truth. But Vavi is taking ownership of his role and warning the nation that it cannot afford another decade like the Zuma years. He said his support for Zuma in the past is a personal regret, and that Zuma's leadership did more harm than good, especially for workers and the poor. So where do we go from here? Vavi's call is not just to remember Zuma's failures, but to demand better from the leaders of today and tomorrow. It's a plea for integrity, transparency, and a renewed commitment to the constitutional values that so many South Africans fought and died for. Because the truth is, South Africa is still in recovery. State institutions are still being rebuilt. Public trust is still fragile. And unless there is a real reckoning with the past, including Zuma's role in what went wrong, we risk making the same mistakes again. And as we approach another election season, it's worth asking, who is offering real solutions? Who is fighting for the people, not just for power? And who has the courage to call out corruption, even when it comes from their own side? Zwelinzima Vavi's words may have angered some, but they also offer a necessary challenge to the rest of us. The era of blind loyalty to political personalities must end. South Africa cannot afford leadership that betrays the people in the name of struggle credentials. It's time for a new generation of leaders, accountable, transparent, and genuinely committed to justice and equality. What do you think? Do you agree with Vavi's comments? Was Zuma truly the worst thing to happen to South Africa's democracy? Or are we missing the bigger picture? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth political commentary and analysis. Thanks for watching and see you next time.